The $50,000 per show producer DJ knows the answers to these questions. And if they don't know the answers to these questions, they've hired people like me that can help them with the answers to these questions. But there is no doubt that they can answer every single one of the questions that I've laid out here. All right, let's just dive straight in. What's the difference between a $2,000 a show DJ producer and a $50,000 a show DJ producer? Many of my clients get between 25 to 100K plus per show, so I'm in the blessed position to be able to tell you how. So how do these artists have fans that will patiently wait for tickets to go on sale and then they'll sell out shows in minutes? How, instead of playing the early slot time at the club or festival, are they playing the peak slot time and headlining? Or lastly, how are they sustaining a life of financial freedom just from their creative endeavors? If you're curious about the answers to these questions, then great. That's what this video is going to be about. The difference between the low or mid-tier artist and the headliner. So before I dive into the weeds of exactly what the 50K plus artist is doing, it may be valuable to give you a little bit of context on me and my story, as it shapes how I look at things and my perspective based on these experiences. As a kid, I grew up loving music and art. I was always so obsessed with music. In high school, instead of talking with my friends, a lot of times when I was walking from class to class, I would put in headphones and listen to something, even if it was for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, just to get my fix. And then this music obsession turned into a love of record collecting, which I started in high school and then carried on through college. And then in college, I'd amassed this crazy record collection that one of my buddies who was throwing parties at the time said, "Hey, you should come DJ these parties because you have all the records." And I'm going to date myself, but back then most DJs were vinyl DJs. So if you had a really great collection, then you could go and you could play gigs. So that then led to me transitioning from, I was studying film and screenwriting at the time, to then falling in love with the DJ world. And then I had this super fun DJ producer experience. I don't know how I feel about the word career, but I had this experience where I got to see the world. And I got to tour with all these people that I was a super fan of. People like Skrillex and deadmau5 and Porter Robinson, Dylan Francis, all these people that I were my peers, but I was such a fan of them as artists and their work that kind of like now I couldn't believe that I was in the position to be able to be performing and playing alongside, you know, these artists that I was such a fan of. And then while I was touring and having my experience as a DJ producer, I was also talent buying and programming for an event called Control at the Avalon Theater. We also had a sister property at Ruby Sky in San Francisco. But basically, it was an event where we were curating the wave of the new movements in electronic dance music. So artists like Skrillex, Zedd, .com before he was Marshmello, Clockwork, which then became RL Grime, Slander, Major Lazer. The first time DJ Snake came to the country, he played for us with no sunglasses on. So I was getting this front row seat at watching how artists were ascending and then how their careers were changing and what kind of moves they were doing in order to grow a fan base and grow their community bigger. And also because I was the talent buyer and programmer, I was the one who was deciding what the offer amounts might be for these artists. And so one artist might get $1,500 and another artist might get $100,000. And we were booking shows based on what was the draw of the artist like and what kind of tickets did we believe that our promotion paired with the artist following that we could fill up the room with. So then after learning what I had learned from my artist experience, but then also the promoter and concert buyer experience, I started Cult 10 years ago and have been doing creative direction, music videos, stage production, and brand builds for some of the biggest artists in dance music. Even taking a moment and talking through a little bit of my story, I can't believe that this is my life. And I'm just so grateful and thankful that I get to do what I do. And all this experience has given me a unique perspective on marketing, brand building, storytelling. And it's not that I think that my perspective is better or worse than anyone else out there. It's just unique because of these experiences that I've got to have. And with that perspective, the number one difference I see between the $2,000 a show DJ producer and the $50,000 a show DJ producer is brand. There are no artists out there getting 50 to 100K plus per show that don't have a deep understanding of brand, especially their brand. So what is brand? I've done a couple other videos on this particular topic on the Neighborhood Art Supply channel. So we'll put a couple links here to those videos if you're interested in going and watching those. But at a high level, the way that I look at brands is I look at brands as movies that the audience is watching. Movies with stories, characters, plot, allies, enemies, position, messaging, and lessons. Stories that are forged inside of a specific universe that was created and built by the artist. All right, so imagine this. You're watching a movie and you love the music in this movie, but you're not really connected to the story. You're not following what's going on with the characters, and the whole thing seems kind of confusing. Would you still watch the movie all the way to the end? Would you recommend it to a friend? Not likely. So what if you saw a trailer for a movie that looked good, but then when you started to watch the movie, you kind of picked up that it seemed like it was a money grab for the people that were making it just to capitalize on something that was popular? Would you want to follow that franchise more? Would you recommend that movie to a friend? No, you wouldn't. So what if you started to watch a movie and midway through, you realize that it was pretty much the exact same thing as another popular movie? Would that make you a huge fan of the movie? Would that make you interested to learn more about the creators or the artists behind the movie? Probably not. A lot of music artists put all of the emphasis on the soundtrack instead of the movie. And I understand why. I was a music producer for the greater part of 20 years, and it is no easy feat to learn how to make great music, make it well, package it, try to build a business around it. All of this is super hard. But if you want to build a solid business around your music and you want to play in the pros, you have to have a deep understanding of story and brand. So all that being said, how do you build a strong music brand?
Ever wonder how to truly cut through the noise and get your music to a broader audience? The Cult Creatives is a niche agency servicing the communities and brands surrounding the spaces of music and fashion. Our unique backgrounds of being highly involved with some of the largest music and fashion brands in the world gives us a unique perspective on how to connect creatives with their audiences. We offer a variety of services including creative direction, design, photography, videography, and strategy. Head to thecultcreatives.com to learn more. The Cult Creatives, not to be replicated, but if you try, we wouldn't blame you.
So what I have a series of questions that I'm going to run through that you have to be able to answer these questions in order to have a strong brand. All right, so now I'm just going to run through these here. Question 1, what do you love? Look within to find the things that you love. Make a mood board of things you personally have undying love for, things from your past. This could be music brands, movies, product brands, other artists. Ideally, it's something that you've loved for a really long time, not just something that's popular today. Question number 2, how does this line up with my music? Find elements from the things that you love mood board that line up and go along with the music that you're making. Question 3, what makes up the pillars that the brand will stand on? Build the walls of the sandbox. The best brands know who they are, and even better, they know what they're not. Create filters and plant flags around these ideas. This is what the brand is about, and this is what the brand is not about. Draw hard lines. These are the walls of the sandbox. You can play infinitely inside the sandbox, but the best brands don't go outside the sandbox. And this doesn't mean that you can't jump genres. I think a lot of times artists, they'll struggle with having one consistent, cohesive idea because they feel like it puts them in a box. Maybe even saying the word sandbox is scaring a lot of the artists that are here. But just like movies, or if we're saying brands or movies, when you go and you see a movie, the movie gives you different feelings and different emotions, but you live inside of one universe. And think about your favorite music brands. They're probably your favorite music brands because they were consistent in what they offered you. And consistent doesn't mean the same song or rinsing and repeating something that they had success with. They're giving you all sorts of things, but it all lives inside of their brand and their ecosystem. Question 4. What does the brand stand for? What do you care about? What's important to you? What are you trying to say with the art? It doesn't have to be something super deep or something political. It can be a message of, I just want people to have fun and party. That can be what the brand's about. But you should have a meaning around what you're trying to present with the project. Question number 5, what is the story about? Question number 6, who are the main characters? Question number 7, who are the allies and the foes in the story? I saw a great video the other day where it was a content marketing person, and they were talking about how Taylor Swift has created an enemy within her brand because she always talks about how she was picked on and how she was bullied whenever she was younger. So the people that are following Taylor Swift and identify with her are following her for her art and her music, but they're also consciously or subconsciously following her because maybe they were bullied and maybe they were picked on whenever they were younger. So now their fandom around Taylor isn't just her, it's about what she represents and how she's standing up to these enemies. Question number 8, what are some of the messages the artist seeks to bring to the audience? So when you're making music and you're creating in the studio, that's yours. It's sacred. It's for your taste. You don't bring the audience into the studio with you or consider them whenever you're making the music. You really should make the music for you first, and then, like Rick Rubin says, if they like it and you like it, great, but that's not why you make it. You don't make it in order for them to like it. But once you've made something and then you're thinking, how does this find its way into my universe? What is the message that I'm trying to present? You're almost looking at it that it's a campaign that has a series of messages inside of that campaign that you're trying to give to the audience. The $50,000 per show producer DJ knows the answers to these questions. And if they don't know the answers to these questions, they've hired people like me that can help them with the answers to these questions. But there is no doubt that they can answer every single one of the questions that I've laid out here and have a deep understanding of their brand, the way it looks, their story, and what it is that they're trying to present. When you think about the answers to these questions, you can almost look at it as though you're writing a script. That script can come with storyboards, concept drawings, mood boards that all tie into the bigger story that you're trying to tell. And just like any great movie or show, the execution of the ideas, of the script, the storyboard, the concept drawings, the mood boards, that's what's going to make the difference between a good brand and a memorable and remarkable brand. And not remarkable meaning incredible, remarkable meaning that people will remark about it. They will tell their friends, family members, and colleagues. The top artists in the world are masters at crafting great stories that go along with their music, whether or not they're doing it by themselves or whether they do it with a team or somebody like me. They are putting these amazing stories and campaigns together, and they're executing them at a really high level. Top artists are also masters at quality control. And again, whether or not they do that themselves or they've hired people to help them with quality control, they work tirelessly not to let one wrong element into the ecosystem of their brand. So for the people listening, if you can answer the above questions and you're focused on continually telling a great story and then pairing that with your music, the sky is the limit. because people identify themselves with the art and music that they love. So much so that if you ask someone to describe themselves and their interests outside of work, they will often answer with their favorite music, movies, sports, lifestyle activities, and products. They'll say things like, I'm super into this band or this genre of music, or I'm a huge fan of this movie franchise or this fashion designer. That's how they're identifying themselves, and their place in the world is by the things that they're into. And all the things that I mentioned today, movies, music, products, fashion brands, they're all made up of stories. And whether or not it's conscious or subconscious, when a person is told a story, they make a decision in that moment whether or not they care about the story and whether or not they identify with the story. That's why music artists, movies, sports teams, athletes, or fashion brands can sell you merchandise, is because they're giving you an opportunity to be a part of the story. And if you identify with it and you have the financial means, you'll buy it. That's why the top artists do the numbers that they do. They're selling you more than a track. They're selling you more than a DJ set. They're selling you a story just like your favorite sports team, movie franchise, fashion brand, product company. It's all story. I have some other videos on the Neighborhood Art Supply channel that cover topics like what I've been talking about today. We'll link these here. Feel free to check them out. Let me know what you think. Let me know other topics that you'd want me to cover in future videos. My mission in life, or my why, is to help creative people find clarity or to help them better tell their stories. So even by making this video, I'm living in my purpose. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch it, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Skullcandy products are made for an on-the-go lifestyle. Headphones, earbuds, and speakers all deliver premium quality sound and a unique sonic experience tuned to you. With active noise-canceling technology, Skullcandy products are sweat, water, and dust resistant. Test for yourself with free shipping on orders over $99. Be prepared for skull-thumping, bone-rattling sound. For the ultimate immersive audio experience, choose Skullcandy. Break free from ordinary audio. Skullcandy, for your head.